question would be, you can interrupt me and ask me the question. I don't mind. And the same goes for the audience. Anytime you feel like you want to ask a question, don't wait till the end of the session. Feel free to ask me right away. Or, if you're a more chat person, send it to me in chat or send it to Maitri in chat. I think she would be able to monitor the chat much more effectively than me. And then she can interrupt me. I don't mind that. And yes, it's really amazing that you all are taking time to come and speak. And I hope I can provide that value to you, because I know networking is a little cringy and it's awkward, but you guys can do great.
Yeah, I think it takes time to develop that skill, like it takes time to open up also, like especially if you're an introvert person at start, like I wouldn't even go and talk to anyone outside my friend circle when I started networking earlier, like back in my university in Mumbai, I wouldn't like go out of my friend circle. And now look at me, like I can talk to so many people around, like it's just like a journey for me. I don't know, like I want to hear more from you because I think you're more connected to so many people around the globe and like so many experiences you've already had. Like as a recruiter also, what do you see from a recruiter's perspective when when you expect someone who's networking with you? And yeah, I had a few questions regarding those also, like pen down, like like how do you make your resume presentable, like if someone's just skimming through, and what is that one line that they should add in their summary? And even in the LinkedIn profile, like what's one thing that you should add in your summary that stands out and that helps you network with people, like because we send out invites to people in our circle who are like our second connections on LinkedIn, but we don't know what line to start with when we chat with them, or when we I also get like invites from LinkedIn to get into like Zoom meetings with people and all that. So I don't know, like sometimes I'm like, what should I talk with this person, even though we have a common connection, the person is like a Clark alumni or someone from AMA, like anywhere across US is there, and I'm like, what should I talk? And sometimes I am out of words myself. So yeah, it'll be helpful to know more about that.
Wow, great questions. Yes, I will definitely answer them. And I want to start with what you said in the initial part of your conversation right now, that it's a journey. So to be honest, I was an introvert too. It took me a while to be able to learn how to talk to people and being confident and going out of my comfort zone to even approach people. So yes, it's definitely a journey, and you can get onto the other end. You don't necessarily have to become an extrovert to become good at networking, but you need to go a little out of your shell to completely enjoy the power of networking. So do we want to wait more, or do we want to get started?
I think we should get started. I'll keep admitting people as and when they join, because I think people will be like trying to get out of their lab sessions. Right now is the time for people to go out of their lab sessions and go into the free time zone. So that's why I chose this time, so that people can plug in before going for their dinner or something.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so let's get started. Firstly, thank you, AMA and Clark University, for inviting me and bringing me to this session. Secondly, to everyone who's online right now, I would say turn on your cameras. If you really want to enjoy the powers of networking, be present. Turn on your cameras, even when you're attending sessions, or networking events, or talking to someone. Turning on your camera will help because the person is able to see you. This will make it so much easier to connect versus just looking at a blank screen and talking. That's just human nature. The same goes for, when you're having one-on-one conversations. It's the human nature. We like to see those micro expressions to see how we're doing well, or is the person understanding, they're not. So do incorporate that into your networking strategy to make the most of networking. Okay, I want to actually start with a question. So first, to make sure that people are actually active, can I see a few haze in the chat window to know that everyone's online and in here with me present, so I can start bombarding you with some fun questions and make this an interesting event? Okay. Yay, I see hey from Maitri and Laura. Thank you. How about some more haze? Come on. Yay, I got one more. Hi, Arjun. Nice to meet you. And thank you for turning on your camera. Okay. So imagine this, you are in a situation where you are walking out of your dormitory and it's maybe start of the semester and people are moving in. You're maybe second year or more into your education. You're not like a freshman who's just moving in. Now you're approached by someone who is trying to get into the building. They have like a handful of stuff and they probably can't find their key fob or so on and so forth. And they give you that expression being like, hey, will you help me get into the door? 9 out of 10 times you will help this person. It's a very small favor. And it's totally relatable, right? That this person's trying to move in, they're probably confused and their hands are full, so it's going to be even more difficult for them to open the door. And 9 out of 10 times you will help. Now imagine you walk a little few steps further and there's someone who's coming in with their U-Haul or maybe a minivan filled with their stuff, and they approach you and be like, "Hey, I am a freshman. I am, just moving in, or I'm in first year master students, and I got my new space and I want to move all of this stuff in." And you look at the van and there's like a whole set of things. There's books, there's bags, there's boxes and lamps, and they're like, hey, will you help me? Now you can gauge that this is at least a 1 hour time investment. It's physical labor work. You will have to put in a lot of energy and effort. Do you really think you will help this person? Like, imagine this person's asking you, help me move all of this stuff from my van to my room. They don't even know you. Would you actually help them? Can I see some yeses or nos?
I think I would.
Okay, that's really sweet of you, Maitri. How about the rest of you?
I
Okay,
think
I'm
I
not
need
getting
to
answers.
read
So I'm
things
just
out from the chat. Yeah, I think Ashley would. She says, some people are sending me private messages, so I'm reading out from.
okay. Make sure to put everyone in your to this thing so we can see. I
Yeah,
see. Maybe so. Yes. Most of the time it's maybe not sure, and
yeah,
that's just human nature because someone's asking you for a huge time investment. It's not a small 2 minute favor. It's a 1 hour huge investment. Now, that's the same thing that goes with networking. When you approach people and you ask them for this huge favor out of nowhere, what do you think they are going to do? Now, this is someone in the industry with a full time job. And most jobs, even though they say 9 to 5, that's not how it works in real life. You end up spending a little more than that. Or, sometimes you have long meetings and a long day. So, you've not been able to finish your work. So, you're going to spend your evening working. And on top of that, you have your family to take care of. If you have kids, then you have to take care of your kids, you have to cook, you have to clean, and all of that is happening. So now if you as a student want help another student, it's the same thing with networking, right? When you approach someone and ask for this huge favor without putting in any effort, it's not going to work. I've seen people, send me messages saying, hey, can you do a resume review? Now, here's the thing with resume review. I don't mind doing them, but at the same time, a good resume review means I have to go through everything, and it's at least a 1 hour time investment to go through everything, to teach you what to write, how to write, why to write, and how to phrase those words, how to change the section, and then also explain to you why you should do those things. So all of that is a huge investment. So now if I don't know you and you just send me a message saying, hey, do a resume review for me, then my chances of saying yes to you are very low. And not to mention that you're not the only one who's asking me. For most professionals, even if they're not super active on LinkedIn, they at least get 2 to 3 messages a day. And now
yeah.
I get it. I understand that you're a student, you're looking for help, and I am looking to give that to you, but make sure not to ask something gigantically huge at the very onset. Maybe after you develop a relationship, you might be able to ask for that help. So the same goes for the student moving in. Now imagine if that was your friend. They call you up and say that, hey, for some reason I was going to move but I can't make it and I have another meeting, or I have to meet up with a professor in half an hour, and in this half an hour I have to move everything. Please help me. The chances of you helping are much higher because they're your friend, you know them, and they've probably helped you at some point as well. The same goes with networking. Build that relationship before you start asking for things. Now, a lot of people tell me that, hey, how can I help someone in this industry? How can I provide that value? So we'll get to that in a couple of minutes, but just keep that in the mind. I want to start this session with those thoughts that make sure you're building a relationship. Make sure it's a give and take. It's not just ask, but it's also you providing value. It's also you putting in that effort to get that value. Okay. All right. So one of the first questions that Maitri asked me is, how do you find people? How do you find people to connect with? Because most of the time it's your alumni or your second degree connection that you're going to see on LinkedIn. How do you expand that reach and find more people to connect with? Here's what I would suggest. Firstly, LinkedIn. Right now, with everything being virtual, people are actually more active on LinkedIn. So it's a great way to find people to connect with. And here's what you do: you go into the search tab and you type the company that you're interested in. For example, let's say I want to go to Google. I will go on the search bar and type Google. And then you can also type things that you're interested in. So let's say if I wanted to become, and I want to go into marketing, I will type marketing. And then you can use those terms to find people in that domain. So for example, let's say I am a roboticist. So I like to go in the field of perception and computer vision. So I'll type in those keywords to find people in that domain. Plus you can use those filters. So I would use filters such as the city that I'm interested in, the university that I went to. So that is again a great way to find your alumni, is to go and type Google marketing and Clark. Like all of these three combinations will help you find someone who you can connect with, whom is in your domain. Again, you don't necessarily have to restrict yourself. So you tried Clark University, then remove Clark University and see if you can find someone else. And that's how you find people. Another approach is hashtags. So the same with marketing. In the LinkedIn search bar, there's an option of people and then there's an option of content. So press on that content so you can find posts by people in the area of marketing or robotics or whatever is your domain. So that way you can find people who are posting actively content on that. And of course, people who are in that domain are the ones who are going to post about it. Now, the third strategy is using publications. So, for example, I'm in the field of robotics. So, for me, it's RoboHub, Replica, and then let's see, such publications who actually hold interviews. So, the same goes for AMA, right? I'm pretty sure AMA is interviewing people in this domain and bringing them in. So, what you do is you follow them, and then the moment they have an interview with someone, that person, you can connect with that person. Another thing is you actually have common ground. Make sure to actually read that interview and understand that person, but you can use that to connect with the person, saying that instead of me just sending a random connection, I'm saying I looked at your interview on the AMA website or the AMA publication on LinkedIn, and that's how I know about you. So that is one thing that you include in your request. So this brings us to the second part, is to how do you send those connection requests? What do you send them? One, how do you know them? It could either be a mutual connection or you found them through LinkedIn, anything, or you attended their talk, anything. Make it easy for the other person to know as to how you found them. Because a lot of time it's, again, number one, make sure you include a note. So on LinkedIn, after you hit connect, there's an option called add a note. Use it to include a message as to why you want to connect with the other person. Just sending in blank connection request is not going to work. Add a note to explain, or at least give some sort of a context to this person. So things you can include in this message is, one, how do you know this person? Either you have some common grounds, or you were searching and you came across that profile. Anything, give them something to make it easier for this person to know, okay, what's going on. Give them some context. Another thing you can include is an introduction about yourself, who you are. So this is like elevator pitch, right? You're not required to write a long message, just one or two sentence as to who you are and what makes you interesting. So for example, if I was a student, I would literally type in, I am a student at Clark University and I'm looking to connect with people in the marketing domain or in the data science domain, whatever is your area, give them something as to who you are and why is this connection important. Next, have a clear ask. I'm a very direct person, so I often give this advice to others. Keep it very direct. Have a very clear ask that, you are looking to apply to Google, and that is why you're interested in connecting and knowing more about it from them. There's nothing wrong in that. And it's just you're making it very clear to this person as to why you want to connect and what is it that they can help you with. Because a lot of time students will connect with me, send me requests, but I don't know how I can help them because they didn't give me any information. So make sure to include those kinds of details in your connection request. Now, here comes the second part. A lot of time, your connection request, even after sending a message, will not get accepted. The reason is very simple. Lots of people get lots of connection requests and they don't have the time. If they're doing a 9 to 5 job or even working longer than that, they don't have time to go through their mailbox, forget going through LinkedIn. It's, how people say, oh, I was busy, I couldn't get back to you. It's very real. Me being a professional, I know sometimes you just don't find time. Plus, at least for recruiters, I can definitely say that they get way more requests than everyone else. So it is very likely that they won't accept your request just because they didn't have the time. It's not because you didn't create a good enough note or anything, it's just because they didn't have time. So here's how you become a little smarter. Instead of just sending the connection request, make sure you follow as well. So if you go on LinkedIn and once you go on to someone's profile, there's an option called follow. So you have to click on connect and then there'll be like a triangle where it shows more options and then there's an option of follow. Make sure you follow this person, especially recruiters if you're looking for job. So what happens with this is you are able to see their posts. So even if you are not connected with them, by following them, all of the posts that they make, you can see on your content, on your feed. So this way, let's say a recruiter posts about an upcoming job. You don't have to be connected to know about it. If you follow them, you can still see their post. And that is another entryway to get into their attention. Once you follow them and you start seeing their post, make sure to engage with them. So I'm not talking about just liking, because 90% of the people will just like. You here want to stand out. To make a connection with someone, you want to come into their radar, right? So make sure to comment on their post, give some valuable feedback. Let's say they talked about having a long day and how everything is a bit hectic. Put in a comment saying that yes, you can also relate to it. Even though you are a student, you know what it is to have a hectic day and here's what you do to relax. A lot of times people think networking is just about talking about the main things. So me being a roboticist, it doesn't have to be that every communication I have with someone is just about robotics. You can talk to people beyond that, and that is exactly what I'm talking about. Like when someone's posting, even though it you might not know everything about it, you might know something about it. So share your perspective, and that is what connecting is about. So before I move on to the next topic of how to connect, how to have conversations, I wanted to check in to see if anyone had any questions or comments.
I think
How
I
about you,
have,
Michael?
yeah.
Is me talking, right? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
I
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
Oh, yeah. And another suggestion I want to make is like try to be active on LinkedIn. Like if you got any achievement, like even very small achievement, like if you got the chance to be a TA, to be GA, or if you got promoted, or if you got some sort of certification from Coursera, like just post it and share it to other people.
Yes, great suggestion. Post. Don't stay on LinkedIn, making a profile and hoping for someone to discover you. Make sure you are pushing content out as well. And don't limit yourself to just talking about your achievements. In fact, talk about your failures as well. It's a very great way to show that you're okay talking about your failures. This again all goes to the same idea that I started with: provide value. You want to connect with someone, make sure to provide value. So let me give you some suggestions on things you can post about. Like Xiang Yang, I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly.
Xinjiang.
Xiang said, make sure to post about things you've achieved. Let's say you got a TA, you got admitted to a university, you're starting your master's program. Talk about that. Post that you're excited to start this new semester, and also talk about some things that you're looking forward to. For example, learning from XYZ course, or learning a new skill, and so on and so forth. Another thing you can talk about is your failures. So let's say you were hoping to get into an internship. You went through the few rounds of interviews and then you failed. You didn't make it. Talk about that. Talk about what you learned. Let's say you realized that one of the areas that you were lacking in was coding, as to you didn't write a good code. So talk about that hey, I failed this internship interview, but you know what, I learned that one of my areas of improvement is coding, so I'm going to focus on that. If anyone has any suggestions on how I can learn coding better, or some resources, please share them with me. So you can make those posts as well. Another one is, let's say you are studying in your class and you learn something new. You can talk about that. Something that, completely changed your perception of a topic. So, for example, AI. In AI, a lot of people are always scared of, AI will take over the world and it'll take over jobs. But let's say you attended a course and, in the first introductory session, your professor made a remark that changed your perspective. Your professor said that, AI is not just about taking away roles, but it's actually taking away jobs that are mundane and boring and no one really wants to do. For example, a job of cleaning tables. Like, no one really wants to clean table, and that it's becoming more and more difficult to find people to do that job. So that is why robots are great, that they will come in and take these jobs, because no one really wants to do it. And that changed your perspective. So you can talk about that hey, I know people are afraid that robots will take over your job, but the way I see it, it's robots are taking away jobs that no one really wants to do. So I'm very happy that that is something that a robot will do. So you can talk about those things as well. Another thing you can talk about is key takeaways. So not just lectures, right? Let's say you attend webinars. I've seen a lot of people post that attending XYZ webinar and here's the link of a recording. That's great, but what's even more great is if you share some key takeaways. You don't have to talk about everything you learned in that session. You can share like three takeaways. Or the same goes for a book. Let's say you read a book and you really enjoyed it. You don't have to talk about everything in that book. You can say, in this book, these are the three key ideas that I resonated with. And then that will help you get engaged and share things like that. One thing with sessions, webinars, or books, make sure to tag the person who originally is the author or the speaker at that session. Two things: one, you should always give credit. You are not trying to take credit away from someone. Two, when people in their network sees your post, so when you've tagged someone, even their network gets to see their post. Now when they see your this thing, they're actually getting some value. So let's say so for example, James Clear, he's an author that I enjoy reading about. So when someone puts the post about them and tag that and they give some key takeaways, I'm actually gaining some value out of it. And I'm like, hey, this person's interesting. They are, sharing value, and they're talking about books they read. I'm interested, and maybe I'll follow them, or maybe I'll connect with them. So that is how you engage and provide value and attract people to connect with you as well. Now, once you've connected with someone, sent a request and they accepted, or through post you managed to make a connection with someone, the next thing is actually talking to them. So here's what I suggest. Once you connect with someone, you should ask them for a virtual coffee chat. Now, the reason I say coffee, it's like literally use this keyword because it's so universal. The moment you tell someone, hey, I want to have a coffee chat, it's so much easier to understand that this person wants to have a casual conversation. Again, don't ask for 1 whole hour. That's too much time for anyone to give you. But if you say, hey, let's grab a quick coffee virtual chat, In person, I used to say this all the time, hey, let's grab a coffee sometime. And 90% of the time, people would say yes to me because it's not a huge time commitment. And it's just like 5 or 15 minutes at max to go grab a coffee and have a talk. And it's also very casual. So I'm not making someone be like, oh, let's have this like big, serious conversation. But it's coffee, right? And most people drink coffee. Even if you don't drink coffee, it's sort of this signal that you just want to hang out and spend few minutes talking to them. So that's the same concept that applies virtually. I still do this all the time. If I find someone interesting and if I want to know more about them, I'd be like, hey, let's have a virtual coffee chat. And again, 90% of the time people say yes. So try that. Now, what happens when you do this conversation, right? Number one, make sure you have like a date and a time. It's not like some future time, like let's grab coffee. Like the moment the person says yes, be like, hey, how about this XYZ date? Or ask them, what are your free time? Sort of work around their schedule because you're the one who's asking. Next, please show up on time. This is super critical. You don't want to burn bridges. You don't want to be like, oh, okay, I'll show up and then come 5 minutes late to a 15-minute conversation or not show up at all. Trust me, it's a big downfall. In fact, this week, I'm actually running an IG stories talking all about networking and sharing tips. And one of the questions I asked, how important it is for someone to show up on time. Almost everyone said yes. It's that critical. If you don't show up on time, you're already burning a bridge. Or you book a time and you don't show up, this person's going to remember you for being the person who didn't show up. And if they ever come across your resume, you have had a bad impression. And trust me, it happens. Because I've had this happen with me where this was way before pandemic. I was supposed to meet with someone and they didn't show up, or they didn't even text me that they had to cancel at last minute or anything. And then a few weeks later, I was reviewing resumes for internship, and that person's resume showed up. And I'm like, I think I know this person. It took me a minute, and then I'm like, yeah, this is the person who stood me up. You know what? Let's not even consider this person. Why? Because they genuinely don't respect time, right? I didn't have to say yes to this student, yet I did because I wanted to help and give to the community back. And then they just wasted 15 minutes of my time where I was waiting for them and they didn't even show up. So don't do that. Make sure you show up. And like I said, I'm running an IG story series talking all about networking. So, in case today you didn't get a time to talk to me, you can check out my Instagram. It's called Kajal Gada, KAJALGADA. And, you can get some more tips. And if you want, you can ask me questions. I do my best to answer them because sometimes I get a lot of messages, but you can always reach out to me.
I'm going to
Next.
post all those links on the Instagram of AMA Clark Q and email the entire people like who have signed up and registered for the session. So don't worry, I'll add everyone to your network.
Thank you, Maitri. So yes, next is, once you got onto that conversation, be it a coffee or anything for that matter, learn the art of small talk. I know it seems frivolous, but you sort of have to go through that. Imagine, you go and someone goes straight away into, so I'm looking for this job and these are my credentials. It's too much. You have to sort of ease into it, especially because, this person might be coming in from another meeting and they've already been into this intense discussion. You sort of need this to ease into your conversation. It doesn't have to be super difficult. And I know a lot of people say, you should start with weather. I'm totally against it. Don't, because it's a super boring topic. Yes, weather is very neutral. You don't want to talk about politics or anything that can be very opinionated, sort of where even you're not sure what your opinions are and you don't want to offend someone and so on and so forth. So yes, don't go for such controversial topics, but at the same time, don't talk about weather. Despite being neutral, it's also super boring topic. It's like there isn't much to say other than yes, the weather is good today or the weather is kind of sad today, right? So talk about interesting topics. Here are some examples. Talk about music. I think most of the people I know listen to music. So even if your tastes don't match, you can still ask like, what type of music do you like to listen to? And let's say you find a match, then you can talk about what are some of your favorite artists, or what's the last song you heard, things like that. It's sort of this easy way to sort of break in that ice, especially if you are the nervous one. I was an introvert at one point, and I know how difficult it is to like sort of talk and ask questions or talk about things. So that is why it's easier to talk about music, where almost everyone listens to it. Everyone has one or two artists that they enjoy, and it sort of helps you break down that nervousness between two people talking who don't know each other. What do you guys think? Would you talk about weather or music?
I'm getting music in the private chat, and yeah, I would also go for music.
Nice. So, see, that's what I'm talking about. Talk about music, or for the matter, talk about food. Another thing you can talk about is, hey, where are you from? And ask them about their culture. Again, be respectful. Don't give strong opinions that you yourself are unsure about. If yes, there's something you strongly believe in, then go for it. But if you're unsure, then don't. Be more curious than giving opinions about things you're unsure of. Ask them where they're from, what the food over there is like, what's the culture. And this is especially true in the US, where most people you meet are international. So you can ask them about what it was like being back home, or what is the food that they miss. Again, food is a great topic to talk about, because everyone eats food and everyone has one or two favorites. You can ask for restaurant recommendations and so on and so forth. And then here's the thing, if it doesn't work, if it flats out, that's fine. Just move on. It's supposed to be an icebreaker. It's not the main conversation. It's fine if it goes sideways, just move on to your main topic. So, again, now your main topic is, let's say you're looking for jobs. Now, one of the biggest things that people think, with networking is only asking for referrals, or, being like, hey, I'm applying for this job, and, how do I do it, or what's the job search process like? But the thing is, you can actually use this opportunity to ask so much more about the team than just the job search process. I'll tell you why. When you're applying for a job, you kind of want to stand out from the other candidates. Not just applying, even when you're interviewing, you want to make sure that you stand out as a candidate and do best. Now, when you've gotten an opportunity to talk to someone from the team or from the company, you can use it as a resource to find more about what the company is like, what the team is like. So, for example, at my last job, I had this opportunity before the interview. So, I asked things like, what's the biggest challenge for the team right now? What programming language do you use? So, for example, with robotics, even though it's a growing field, different companies use different languages. And with this conversation, I found out two things. One, this company uses Python. Two, the biggest problem for this team is LiDAR noises. So for my interview, even though I was comfortable with both C++ and Python, whenever someone asked me what language you want to code in, I said Python. Why? Because I know that this is an important language for this team. So if I can show that I can code in Python, I'm going to stand out from the other candidates. Second, I studied anything and everything I could about LiDARs. And guess what? I had like 6 interviews. One of my interviewer, for some reason, just kept asking me LiDAR questions. And that worked out. And I could see why they're asking, because it's one of the biggest challenges for the team. So use these interactions beyond asking for referrals, but to know more about the company. And it's not just for interviews, right? Let's say you talk to this person and you find out what the biggest challenge for this team is. So now when you're connecting with a recruiter, instead of just sending in an application being like, I'm a great candidate, you're saying, I'm a great candidate. One of my best works is this project. And this project is, the project that's going to help with the team's biggest challenge. Because I know the team's biggest challenge is LiDAR noises, I'm going to talk about a project where I worked with LiDARs. I mean, you don't have to make up a project, just go and see where there are some interactions between your profile and this thing. So now, even though I have like 10 projects, I'm going to talk about the project where I dealt with LiDAR. Why? Because I know that for this team, LiDAR is a huge thing. And this way, I'm going to stand out to that recruiter versus all the other candidates. So use these interactions as a way to know more about the company and, get all of that information. With that said, yes, you can still use these interactions to know more about the job search process and ask for job referrals. Now, here's the thing with job referral, it's a big ask. So make sure you're building that relationship before you ask for it. The same goes with connection requests. A lot of time I'll get messages saying, hey, I'm applying to your company, I'm looking for a job referral, and that's it. And guess what? I'm gonna give a job referral? No, because I know nothing about this person. It's simple. When I am giving them that referral, it's my name on the line as well. Companies are not looking just for referrals from anyone, they want genuine referrals. The moment I put that referral in, if it's, especially if it's a small company, the recruiter is going to ask me as to, why you referred this person, what are the capabilities, or what are their strengths. And I'm not going to be able to answer because I know nothing about them. So instead of just asking straight away for referrals, I mean, you can still ask. I would type in something like, hey, I'm applying to this company, I'm looking for a referral, I want to start with getting to know you, or I want to start by introducing myself to you, can we grab a quick coffee chat? This way you are giving that person information to be able to talk about you. And again, after the introduction, they may say no, and that's completely fine. You still want to make sure that you leave a good impression and build on that connection. You can always, let's say, you have a 15-minute conversation, and even though you tried, you weren't able to provide true value to them, or if they weren't able to say it, you can still go back to it later. Question.
I just wanted to point out that we've almost like crossed 5:35 and we're supposed to officially end it at 5:45. So I want to
Oh,
open the round for like questions that people have. And I already have like two questions popped in here. One says that how do you ask for a coffee chat, especially in the COVID-19 scenario, and if the person's like in a different geographical location or something like that? Like, especially networking in the COVID-19 scenario is like a very difficult task for everyone. So that is one question that I think we should take. And
okay, let's take that first question and then you can ask me the second one.
yes.
Virtual coffee chats. What I meant was virtual coffee chats. So it doesn't have to be a physical one. It can still be over video call, Zoom, or even a Google Hangout. So this is what I generally do when I ask people, saying that firstly, I want to know if they're even interested in talking to me. So I provide them some background about me, who I am, what I find interesting about them. I make sure to check their profile and see something that's relevant and common, and then I say that, hey, I want to talk to more to you, want to know more about you, would you like to grab a virtual coffee chat? Or you can say, would you like to get on a 15-minute virtual casual conversation? And 90% of the time people will say yes. And then what I would do is, I would send in some options, being like, Wednesday 5 p.m. Pacific time. Make sure to include time zones, especially if people are from different regions. And then don't just give one option, I give 3 or 4 options. Or I use an app called Calendly, where I block out some time and then I send that, so then they can book a time within that. And then what this app does is, it actually automatically, because it's synced to my Google Calendar, it will include a Google Hangout video link. So that way, both of us just get on to that video Hangout call, and then that's it. Like, most of the time things are done by, and it's completely free for, like, I think, basic stuff. So you should be able to use it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for taking that question. And the other one was actually my question from your earlier thing about you said that we should include our failures on LinkedIn. So how do you think, like, should we portray them? Should we add some words like learning or, hashtag like success and failure, or stepping failure is the stepping stone to success, or like something like that, to make it like something from which we've learned, but like it should also, I don't know, how do we include, like, I've never include any failures on my LinkedIn, so I would really want
Sure.
to know more about that.
Sure. So, okay, talking about failure is essentially showing your vulnerable side. It's essentially saying that I'm okay with me failing, and using that as a resource to learn. So there are two things you can do. One, you can make a story out of it, as to, I failed and I learned this and I tried and it worked. For example, uh, I sent out 50 connection requests and I got like 5 responses. So I failed at networking effectively. Then I learned from XYZ person that you should add a note. So I did that with my next 50 connections, and I managed to get 25 connection requests accepted. So you're sort of building a story as to I failed in this way, I tried this method, and I succeeded. Second, sometimes you don't want to talk about success because you've not had any. For example, I interviewed, I've been interviewing for internships or full time positions, and I'm not able to clear my interviews. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, or I'm still I'm going to spend next week figuring out what are my shortcomings so I can do better. That's it. Like, you don't necessarily always have to talk about a success in the end. You can also use it as a way to get help from your network. For example, I am failing in my interviews and I don't know how to keep going, or I don't know what to do better. I'm looking for resources. Or you can say that, and like include genuine true stories, being like, I I interviewed at Uber last month and I failed. I'm looking for tips on how I can do better. Something as simple as that. And then again, give more details if you can. For example, even if you don't want to mention the company, you can say I interviewed for data science positions, or I interviewed for roboticist positions. This sort of makes it easier for the other person to help you as well, right? And again, with everything, it's failure and success. Like, you post, sometimes you might get a response, sometimes you might not. For example, a friend of mine, he was not able to get interview callbacks. He posted his resume on LinkedIn as a post and said that I'm really struggling, and he managed to get like 100 comments on how he could do better. Not everything is going to blow up, but some things will. And even if it doesn't blow up, you're at least trying. And then again, don't focus just on yourself, right? Like I said before, make sure, on LinkedIn there are so many people sharing tips on how to write better resumes, how to get better at interviews. Make sure you connect with them as well. Make sure you follow them and engage with their posts as well, because that way, you're sort of giving back as well. Again, it comes back to the whole thing as to, don't be so me focused in any relationship, be it professional or personal. It's a give and take. Make sure you are also providing value, and that same goes with the conversation you've had, right? Every time you end a conversation, make sure you ask, how can I help you? How can I provide value to you? Even as a student, trust me, you can provide value.
Definitely, I agree with you.
All right, so let's open up the floor for a few more questions. And I just want to mention that, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever your thing is. Currently, I'm doing a lot of stories on Instagram. So that is my preferred mode of communication right now. And I do my best to answer questions. So feel free to send them in. Again, like I said, it's better if you ask me more specific questions than generic ones, so I can help you better. For example, I'm looking for data science position and this is where I'm struggling, then it's much easier for me to help you as well. Okay, let's see any questions from audience. Maitri, you're on mute.
I think everyone, whoever's want to ask, like just unmute yourself or probably use the raise hand feature in the chat and I can like just call out names and people can ask, or just whoever first come basis. No questions. Amazing.
Either you're a very good audience or I bored you all a lot.
I don't think so.
Okay, then let me answer one question that I often get a lot, is how to connect with someone. And once you get connected and you had a talk with them, how do you make sure to see that that connection keeps growing forward? Simple: follow up. Even if let's say you connected with someone and you sent a message and they didn't respond, the same goes for connection with recruiters, and sending in your application and not hearing back. Follow up. Sometimes your email just gets lost because there are so many. Make sure you follow up. And in fact, like, I literally do this with my emails. When I've sent someone an application and I haven't heard back, I will send in a follow up, and I will change my subject line to write follow up. For example, my original title was applying for computer vision position. I would resend that same email and I would edit the subject line to say follow up, applying for so and so. And then in the message include that, hey, I haven't heard back from you. So I just wanted to check in. And trust me, that gets really good results because sometimes people are just busy and they don't get time to respond to you. But the moment they see follow up, they're like, oh, I haven't responded and this person's asking again. Let me see if I can reply this time. It's just simple tricks that helps. Same goes for LinkedIn. You message someone, you didn't hear back, send another message. Hey, following up in case you missed my last message. So I think that's time, right, Maitri? Or do you have any more questions?
Hi,
I
Kazul.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for such insightful information. Yeah, I hope we all learned very much information from you. I have like a questions regarding like so if a student who has like least experience or like no experience at all, like how would you like suggest like what is the first step he or she must take to to spread her to build her network or to get his or her dream job.
So here's one thing that you can do. Don't limit yourself in terms of experience as internships or full-time jobs. Let's say you worked on a project. That is experience. Let's say you did a part-time job on campus on a completely unrelated thing. That is still experience. Learn the art of reframing everything you've done as experience. That's one. Second, what you can do is you can use it as a mean to connect with someone. So let's say you are looking for a job in at Microsoft. You
Mm-hmm.
can connect with people at Microsoft and ask that, hey, the domain that I'm interested in is so and so. I'm looking to gain experience. Can you suggest some projects I can work on? Most of the time people will respond back saying that, hey, try this one simple project, it's easy and it'll help you gain some experience. So sort of use that as a means to connect with people.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think there are any more questions left. So formally, I would like to thank you from on behalf of AMA Clark University. And I don't want to run over your time also because I know that you have a 3 p.m. meeting. So I don't want you to like overboard with the session and give you a couple of minutes before your next meeting. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, you can use the raise hand feature still. We're on for like 2-3 more minutes and then I'll end the meeting.
Yeah, and I want to thank Maitri for reaching out to me and giving me the opportunity to talk to all of you. I know networking is hard and it seems like a little weird, and I have been that awkward, weird kid who doesn't know how to talk. It's practice, practice, practice. It'll take a few trial and error. Like I've made a fool of myself enough number of times, and that's completely fine because that's how you learn. And trust me, the power of networking is amazing. Think beyond just asking for job referrals, and you can get so much information and so much help. Like I've connected with people who weren't able to help me get a job, but when I did, I could go back to them and say that, hey, at my job I'm stuck with this problem, how do I go about it? And people will help you. People are more than willing to help you. It's just you have to build a relationship first. People don't want to help people they don't know, or people who seem ungrateful. Because here's another dark truth. Sometimes you help people and then you completely don't hear back from them, or they book a session with you, or they book some time to talk to you and they don't show up. This sort of makes people on this side of the aisle a little bit more skeptic. So just make sure that you're building that relationship, providing value and helping others as well.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Just do you have any advice on like giving an elevator pitch on like during an interview or when reaching out to someone, how to like market yourself to businesses and people?
Sure. So this is my 3-step rule with elevator pitches. Number one, who you are. You should have like one sentence as to give a clue of who you are. So for example, I'm a student at AMA Clark University. I'm a student at Clark University as a data scientist, or I'm a data scientist student. Sort of one or two words to identify who you are as a person, including your name. So, hey everyone, I'm Kajal, I'm a professional roboticist. So that kind of gives you a clue that I am someone who's working in the industry and I'm in the field of robotics. Second, what makes you interesting? So, what makes you different from every other student at Clark University? Something that is unique about you. So, for example, I say that apart from being a roboticist, I also like to help students. So, I have a YouTube channel, something that's different. It doesn't always necessarily have to be big, it can even be something small. For example, I'm a student from India, and this is something that's different about me. Like, or I grew up in a big family, so I have a different perspective when it comes to things. Something that's very unique and different about you. But yeah, again, if you're at a career fair, then this section can be a little longer because you have 3 to 4 minutes. But if it's a quick conversation, you only have like a minute. The third thing, what's your ask? Always have a clear, direct ask. For example, I'm looking for jobs. I am looking to network people in my domain. I'm looking to expand my network. I'm looking for mentors. Make sure you have a very clear ask on what it is. So at a career fair, it's going to be, I'm looking for full-time position starting May 2021. Sort of give them what this conversation is about. Another thing you can talk about in terms of interesting is you can talk about a recent project of yours. For example, I could talk about that I recently built a line follower robot using Arduino. So something like that, that gives you a perspective of who you are or what makes you interesting. Or you can talk about that recently in my computer science class, we built a chat bot to talk with people who are upset about their Amazon parcel being missing. Something as to who you are, what you did, what makes you interesting. Or you can say that, in our class, we all made a project to, let's say, we all had a project to identify the number of people coming in a shop. What I did was I added a feature to check how many of them are below 25 and how many of them are above 25. So it's everyone's doing this project, because especially if you're in a career fair, everyone's going to talk about the same things because you're all from the same class, same courses and same projects. But what did you do different? That is what makes you unique. That even though I did the same project, what I did was I checked how many of them were under 25 and how many of them were over 25. And here's an interesting result. People under the age of 25, they check out really fast, versus people over the age of 25, they take longer to check out. Anything to show that, you can do beyond what's asked of you, and you're interesting because you think of all these weird things, or you think of these interesting ideas. So that's my tip on this thing. Other than that, I would say check out this video on my channel. So I invited Shilpa Veer and we talked about elevator pitches in depth for 30 minutes. It's a 30-minute session. And we actually did 2 live elevator pitches where someone had given their elevator pitch. We took it apart and we restructured it to show what it should be like. So if you want, check that out.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your insights on networking and especially the elevator pitch. I'm sure I'll definitely check out the video. And thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who tuned in. A few people have already, I think, moved out of the uh, chat and everything. So thanks to all the people who are still there. And I'm sure you'll be happy to attend a few more sessions with AMA this week and next week as well. We're going to bring in 2 more speakers in the same speaker series and have a few other topics regarding marketing. And please log into our Instagram live and Instagram sessions, where I'm going to post the video for this uh, recording as well. So if any of your friends or anyone's missing the session, I definitely ask you all to log into AMA Clark Q, and I'm going to tag Kajal and everyone. I'm already getting thank you messages on the chat and on my email. So thanks to you all for joining in. Thank you so much. It was an amazing session. And thank you so much to Kajal as well for helping us out with today's event.
Yeah, thank you for having me and good luck to everyone with all of your goals and with networking.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye.